Hello, cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmic. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. So, today we are going to do a collective reading about the new year ahead. So, I already pulled the cards. It takes a little bit to set this one up because it's so many cards. So, I pulled them beforehand and then we're going to dive into them now. So, I've already tapped into the energy a little bit. And then what I did was I pulled a card for each month and then I did an overview. And so we're going to go into the overview first and then we'll go month by month. So the cards that came out for the overview were the only ones that flipped out face side up. And so I just thought that was interesting. Um the first card that came out for the overview is simplicity. So, what simplicity is talking about is really dropping the baggage. And so, whatever that is for you, that can be mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. And so, it's really about releasing what no longer serves. So, that may be purging physical items that are weighing you down. Kind of thinking about how much extra energy it takes to maintain having a lot of unnecessary items and having clutter and things like that, it gets to a point where it's just no longer serving. Um, it can also be mental baggage. So if there's been limiting beliefs, if there's been like kind of that worry energy, that head spinny type of energy, this is really a call to release that. And there's all sorts of ways that you can look up in how to do that in different, ways. Obviously, we've got meditation. Another thing can be getting into a place where you're just observing your thoughts instead of attempting to control them. And so a lot of times it's this concept of like, well, when you're manifesting, you have to control your thoughts. You have to make sure that they're only positive. Well, that takes a lot of effort. And then what oftentimes happens is it's a snowball effect of, oh, well, now I'm thinking a negative thought. And now I've got to unthink a negative thought. And so it's still in that same vibration. So when you take a step back and you start to observe your thoughts, it's just noticing that you're having thoughts, that they're there, and then you attach to the thoughts that you want to put energy into. So that's a different way to kind of look at manifesting, but it's a way of just sitting back and saying, okay, there's a thought, there's a thought. Oh, that thought feels good. I'm going to feed it a little bit more. I'm going to attach to it a little bit more. Um and that's kind of a different way to shift your energy. Um, and then it's really talking about merging with the higher self. And so it's really stepping into that. I think it's the narrow gate. That's what it is. So you can see on this card right here where she's stepping into this like almost portal looking energy. The artist calls this the narrow gate. That's actually the name of this painting. And what this is about is this is really stepping into that place of merging with your higher self. And once you get to that place, it's kind of that energy of there's no more going back, basically. Even if you try to, you step into a new place of being. And that's really the message here is to eliminate that which no longer serves so that you can step up and into that place of, your highest timeline, basically. The next three cards that came out, uh, they're interesting. I'll say that. So we've got the stuck card. And here, what this is often talking about is it's when we're in this place of feeling stuck, but it's by our own doing. And so sometimes it's perceiving our situation is a stuck situation. And so with this simplicity card, what I'm really getting is if you are in that energy or if that energy does come up over the course of the year, understand that by seeking help from others, that can really help you shift out of that energy. And then also working on this simplifying simplicity energy of removing that which no longer serves, that can also help pull out of this stuck energy as well. The next card that came out is temptation. And so what this is talking about is when we're almost in that place of like desperation, and then something shiny comes along and we're like, "Ooh, this is the answer to all my problems." And it's kind of masquerading as this, elusive carnival in the sky that you can see in the imagery here. It's that, this is such a great, wonderful, mystical, magical place. And then upon further investigation, it's like the rides are kind of broken down, and, it's kind of like raggedy, and, the rides are rusted and things like that. So what this message really is if there are some situations that come up for you that feel exciting and almost too good to be true, take a pause before you jump towards that. So if there are things that are coming up and it's let's say it's a new relationship and it's like, "Oh, this is the perfect person and everything's great." Just take it, a step at a time kind of thing, because oftentimes if we have all these expectations on it and we feel like it's almost like an escape to a situation, then we're setting ourselves up for I don't want to say failure, but it's jumping without really tapping in first to see if that is what is in your highest good. Then the next card that came out was separation. And so what this card is talking about is it's like a clean break. And so there could be, for some of you, there could be an actual separation that does come up for you in 2025. For others of you, what it's really talking about is if there's something that you've been knowing that you should let go of because it's in your highest good, and you've been getting the nudges, and deep down there's that knowing, but you still are attaching to it in some way and not fully letting it go. This is the message that it's it's cleaner in the long run to just have that clean break, basically. So that could be in all areas of life. If you're feeling like you need to move to a different location, if, it can be a relationship. It can be a career situation. So maybe you've been, let's say you are attempting to start a business, but you're in a job that you're working 60 hours a week, and you could let go of that job and fully focus on this business idea. It might be time to just do that. Obviously use your discernment. So if it's one of those like you've got this idea, but you still are working this job to, pay the bills and that kind of thing, obviously you know, do some self-searching, make sure that it's in the highest good for you to, completely jump ship like that. That's the overall energy of this card, though, is if you're holding on to something that's no longer conducive to the reality you are stepping into, the longer you hold on to it, the more challenging that separation process becomes. And it's, also kind of entanglement with energy and things like that. So, if you're familiar with quantum entanglement, those kinds of things, um, that's part of that message as well. So that's the overall energy of 2025. I also pulled what is this one? Abundance Angels. I pulled a card just to kind of get an overview of like the abundance situation for the collective for 2025. And the one that came out was Organize for Success. Do not let the word organize intimidate you, as it simply is a way for you to ensure clarity of purpose. Organize your thoughts, your reports, your living and workspace, and your finances will help you know and plan your next action steps. And so, that one coming out with this simplicity card, what I'm really, really picking up is by doing some organization, whether that's physical belongings, whether that's financially, emotionally, mentally, um, by really doing that work, it's going to help you step into your most abundant timeline as well. All right. So now we are going to get into it month by month here. So we have January. Okay, so for January, the overall message here is integration. And so, what integration is talking about is it's really about taking those different parts of the self and pulling it into one whole being. And so, 2024, there was a lot of, there was an over, kind of like an overlaying energy of just a lot of spiritual work, especially if you're called to this message. You probably have been doing a lot of spiritual work. And what integration is about is it's about really taking all of those parts of the self that oftentimes we have fragmented because maybe we don't want to fully own it. Maybe it's something we're not proud of. Something like that. When we take that energy of integration and we really pull it into the whole self, then you start to see it a little bit differently and you can allow those shadow parts, those parts of the self that we're not proud of, things like that. And it will help to accent the full you. And so by fully owning that and stepping into that, you're going to be able to step up into your highest self. Let's see, we've got February. February is quickening. So this is about it's normally a fast-paced energy, it's a fast-moving energy. And then it's also about letting the universe put the pieces of the puzzle together for you. So this is really when spirit is kicking in and helping you make big moves. And so this can be when all of a sudden you experience like a quantum leap, something like that. Or it can just be you've been, slowly working on something for a while, then all of a sudden it takes off. That's that spirits in the background helping you really push it along. So that's the energy of February. All right. March, we have reflection. So what's really prominent that's standing out to me is the heart chakra energy here. And this is really about looking at the self and seeing the full self. What we label as good and bad as the full self. So this is about seeing yourself as your human self and then also seeing your spirit self and really reflecting back that full image of who you are. And there could also be some heart chakra activations going on in March as well. March, April. Okay, April, we have renovation. And so this is a beginning. Um, and this is about really getting your hands dirty, so to speak. So it's, really putting on your work boots and getting some things done. And that's also conducive with like spring cleaning, that kind of thing. So, that's not overly surprising that that would be placed there either. And then you also have the Mars energy pretty heavy, which I think, yeah. So there's obviously, there's Aries babies in April. That there could be a real heavy Mars influence more so than normal this April. From May. Okay, so in May we have connection. So for those of you that are embarking on like a new relationship journey, there could be something happening in May for you. And this can also really signify merging with the higher self. So that can be really connection, which is the name of the card. But it's really about connecting and it's about connecting on a deep, deep level. And so this can be connecting with your higher self. This can be connecting with a divine partner. This can also be connecting with your soul tribe. So there's going to be an overall energy of connection that really comes up and is prevalent in May. All right, June. Okay, so we have innocence, which is in the reverse. So normally when these cards come out in reverse, there's a block. There's like a blockage energy. What this can actually be like a baby card. So there might be some of you who maybe find out that you're expecting in June, or maybe you are expecting to have a baby in June. So that's for a select few of you. The innocence card is really about seeing things from that new perspective. And so it's kind of that Zen beginning energy where this happens shortly after an awakening where all of a sudden everything is just it's the same but it's different and there's possibilities everywhere and it's really learning like with the baby they have to be taught how to eat, how to walk, how to do all sorts of things. And so that could be the energy as well is maybe some a lot of like learning. um Being that it's in reverse, I'm going to take a peek really quick in the book and just see if there's anything else there. So it says, we resist letting others help us get started. Common culprits are fear of not looking good or fear of vulnerability or excessive pride. We may feel angry, confused, or jaded about learning something new. Okay, so that could be something else that comes out as well is there may be an energy of needing to learn something new, but not wanting to, or not allowing others to help you. So the message here would be sometime in June, if that does come up for you, um, do your best to allow yourself to be helped by somebody else and really be mindful of your fear vibration at that time. All right, July is harvest. So this is really, he's picking this golden apple. And so this is really about seeing your hard work pay off. So if you've been working on something for quite some time, expect tangible, real results in the physical realm by July. This is really, really fortuitous card. So that's really good. And halfway through the year, and in that summer, the summer months, if you're in the northern hemisphere, that's that really kind of goes hand in hand. And so allow yourself to receive that harvest. Okay, we've got August. And this one came out in reverse as well. So we've got strengthen. What strengthen is talking about is really battening down your spiritual hatches and calling in like your spirit team and really kind of battling up spiritually. But being in reverse, I'm going to look at it again in the book just to see. These cards don't come out in reverse often, so I'm not as familiar with the reverse meanings. It says we're resisting the true nature of our challenge. We minimize our opponents and overestimate our ability to succeed. The tsunami is about to strike. Helpful friend can protect us now. Okay, so in August, there may be some of you who face a challenge, and the message there is again, there's this kind of it's it was in June as well. So there's this message of reaching out and allowing yourself to be helped by others. And that can also be opening up and allowing yourself to be helped by your spirit team as well. September. Okay. So this one was in reverse as well. Interesting. All right. So, purification, what this is talking about is deep spiritual work. And so, being that it's in reverse, what I'm picking up before even looking at it in the book is that there may be a resistance to allowing the natural purification process to take place when it comes to transmuting energy. So, let me verify here. Oh, forgot the alphabet for a minute. Hold on. Okay, here we go. The resentment or emotional entrapment we experience may be more powerful than our willingness to dissolve it and move on. Okay, so resentment or emotional entrapment. So maybe there's going to be, especially with the strengthen card preceding it, there may be some resentment going on towards like autumn of next year. Again, if you're in the northern hemisphere. So September. So there might be there could be a situation that happens where it brings up some resentment. And I'm going to pull a clarifying card here just to see. Okay, so with the Ascent card coming out in Purification in reverse, what the Ascent card is talking about is it's about rising up. The name of the artwork is Rise Above the Jealous Mouths. And so what this is really talking about is it's pulling out of the ego self, basically. So it's when others are gossiping or, saying mean things and talking down, those kinds of things. We've got two choices. We can either choose to meet them at that level and engage in that behavior and gossip and, say negative things back, that kind of thing. Or we can choose to ascend above that. And it's not in an ego way either. It's about stepping out of that dynamic. So it's, again, that like above below concept. It's not really a better than, less than kind of thing. What you're doing is you're removing yourself from that dynamic and choosing to use your discernment and understand that when a lot of times when people are coming at you from that perspective, it's because of a wound within themselves. And that's when they're showing up in those ways and they're saying hurtful things. It's coming from a hurt place from within them. And so the message here is when this resentment comes up, if it does come up for you, just do your best to really pull out of that dynamic and remember how much work you've done. Remember where you are now, and you can choose to step up in a different energy. You don't have to meet people at their energy level. You can choose to, take a step back and just like, no, I'm not engaging in this, basically. Okay, let's see. October. So, October, we have discovery. Now, this is talking about it can literally be a discovery of something. So this can be maybe you've been doing some work on finding out who your ancestors were, and then you find a big piece of information. This can be big, like finding out that you have a sibling that you never knew about. This can be big like that. But it can also be about something within the self as well. And so this can also be about discovering your personal strength. This can also be about discovering just how much you've grown. This can be a situation like this one, the September energy here. Maybe what happens is, and this is an example. Maybe what happens is there's somebody that it does something that pulls you into a resentment energy for a little bit. And then you choose to meet them in a different space and you choose to handle that situation differently than you did before. And then upon reflecting on it, you discover that you've actually grown a lot. You've done a lot of work. And, that's the self discovery aspect. So this is really about finding information out about the self, or even if it is like a familial thing or something like that, obviously that's still a discovery about the self. And it can be a very life-changing discovery. So for some of you, this can be huge. This can be really, really big. Like life-changing, again, if you find out you have a sibling that you never knew about, that's pretty big. And then this can also be something, and it's just as big when you discover that you've shown up in a different way in a situation in life that you would have shown up in differently at a different phase in life. And so this is really just about um that big discovery. And then it can also represent really connecting with your ancestors. And so being that this is in October, which again for the northern hemisphere, that's we're coming into like Samhain, Halloween, and that's when the veil's thin and so on and so forth. And so really spend some extra time connecting with your ancestors or your spirit beings during the month of October. So that's another part of the message there. November, we have rest. So this is when we've done a lot of work and when we need to take a step back. in actually legitimately rest. And this is also about that message of if you take a day off, the world isn't going to end, basically. And so it's about allowing yourself to rest when you need to rest. And then December, we have surrender. Hey, so this card is talking about it's surrendering, basically. And so what you've got here is this is like the higher self, and this would be like the human self. And she's holding the human self in her hands because the higher self can handle it. And so it's about taking those humanly worries and all of that fear vibration stuff and releasing it to the higher self and allowing your higher self or spirit, the divine, to carry you for a little bit and to help navigate you and guide you through and not doing so much human efforting. Okay. All right. Well, ultimately I'm picking up it's an overarching good energy. Obviously, a year, depending on how you look at it, it's a long time, but it's also not that long. Um, but obviously we're all going to go through our own, trials and tribulations and ebbs and flows, because that's just natural. So this is just an overview of a most likely energetic outcome for the year. Again, we're all co-creating, and we're going through massive like quantum leaps at this time as well. And so just take any reading, especially like this when we're projecting out for a year, take it with a grain of salt. And this is just one of those, if all of a sudden it's September and you're like, oh, I'm feeling resentment, and then it clicks back to this, and then you're reminded of it and like, okay, that's right, take a step back and don't engage in this dynamic anymore. Something like that. That's where these can be helpful. But I just want to put that little caveat in there of don't take this as like, okay, my January is going to be like this and February is going to be like this, because we're all co-creating and very powerful conscience creators. So just keep that in mind. Little side note. So overall though, I'm picking up awesome things are on the way, and yay yay. Alrighty. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave this reading here. If this resonated, definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you like this message, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet and you would like to see more messages from me, hit that subscribe button. It is free, it doesn't cost anything. And something I forgot to mention at the beginning of the message, because I was already tapped into the energy, is I did get my personal readings up for sale on YouTube finally. So if you're interested in a personal reading from me, check out my community page. And if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to email me. All the information's there. And until next time, Happy New Year. We will see you on the next one. Bye.